Hello, and welcome to this online tutorial brought to you by Parents as Tutors. Is your child able to sound and point to specific letters when asked? Does he or she know the difference between uppercase and lowercase letters of the alphabet? Does your child understand the connection between letter sounds and letter prints, as in the long and short sounds that A makes and the fact that A can be written in uppercase and lowercase format? How about recognizing the difference between consonants and vowels, and letter sounds used at the beginning, middle, and end of words? These are the skill sets that pre-K and kindergarten children must master. The basis for these skill sets are phonemic and phonological awareness. In this instructional video, Reading Foundation Parent Guide, we will demonstrate how children can be guided in the development of these skill sets. It is done in a fun and exciting way to captivate children's interests. The characters come to life. Let's begin with letter knowledge. Turn to page 19 of the book. Note how the letters are presented as lively characters. Children are able to see A in both uppercase and lowercase formats, and hear the dialogue as uppercase and lowercase A share their distinguishing characteristics. Uppercase A identifies itself as uppercase, while lowercase a identifies itself as a lowercase. The uppercase letter informs children that it is the first letter in the alphabet family and that it is a vowel, while the lowercase a points out its difference in shape by saying that it is round. Uppercase takes it further by giving children an example of where it is used, when it states, "Just like the A in apple," so children are learning the distinguishing features of the letter A while understanding that A comes in two formats, uppercase and lowercase. Let's skip over to page 34, where the letter B introduces itself. Children are able to see the difference in uppercase and lowercase b as they are next to each other. In addition, these characters dialogue and share the fact that they are consonants. Now remember, whereas the letter A shared that they were vowels, upper and lowercase b reinforce that they are consonants. A good idea at this point is to have children place a sticker next to all consonants on the alphabet poster. This is the beginning of distinguishing the vowels from the consonants. Recognizing the difference between upper and lowercase letters and determining which letters are vowels and which are consonants can be addressed on pages 19, 34, 49, 64, 79, 94, 109, 124, 139, 154, 168, 182, 198, 213, 228, 243, 258, 272, 287, 302, 317, 331, 345, 359, 374, and 389. Why is it so important that children understand the difference between uppercase and lowercase letters? Well, later on when they're asked to write their names and they are told to begin with an uppercase or capital letter, if they do not know the difference in upper and lowercase letters, they are not likely to understand. They should also be able to transfer that learning when you expose them to books. They will be able to determine that sentences begin with uppercase letters, while the remaining texts use lowercase letters. When faced with learning sight words or high-frequency words, children need to be able to immediately recognize the letters in each word. Knowledge of sight words has more to do with letter recognition than letter sounds. Once children are able to recognize and tell the difference between upper and lowercase letters, they should be able to cut out the letters, see page 11 through 17, that represent their names. For example, if the child's name is Candy, guide her in understanding how many lowercase letters are needed and then how many uppercase letters are needed. Allow the child to select the letters and then practice cutting them out to make the name train. It should be coloured and placed in an area where the child can proudly view it. We move on to the next skill set, that of building letter memory. As you know, writing is extremely important, and one of the first writing a child does is his or her name. The child already learned that it must begin with an uppercase or capital letter. But how are these letters formed? Reading Foundation ensures that while learning the difference between these letters, children begin the writing process. Writing is introduced while children recognize the difference between the letters. The first step is tracing. As children trace these letters, a visual memory of what uppercase A and lowercase a looks like is being reinforced. So in addition to learning letter formation, children are also reinforcing the differences between upper and lowercase in terms of its shape. Reading Foundation starts out with letter tracing and then moves on to helping children understand the amount of strokes required to form a letter. Here's why. As children trace, they learn how to grip and hold pencils, a necessary skill for all the writing they will need to do throughout their lives. So fine motor skill is being developed while children learn that letters are written on and between lines. This makes for a visual motor connection. Note, however, on pages 19 through 21, that tracing letters begin outside of the confines of a line. Experts have recommended that prior to children tracing on paper, they should begin by tracing with hand movements in the air, and tracing outside the confines of horizontal lines. This is believed to reinforce letter formation. So, once children learn to grip pencils and use fine motor skills to form letters, the next step is understanding how many strokes are required to form each letter, upper and lowercase. Note that while tracing letter formation is practiced throughout all sections, and students are learning the difference between uppercase and lowercase letters, and the actual letter sounds, we eventually move children towards independent writing. For example, pages 30 and 31 guide students in writing based on knowledge of how many strokes are required. At this point, children are not concerned with pencil gripping and fluently forming strokes. They practice that during tracing. Now they are concerned with remembering how many strokes it takes to write uppercase A versus lowercase a, and writing the letters on lines in the absence of trace markers. Let's move on to letter sounds. The fact that we are speaking about this last does not mean that mastering letter sounds is the last thing done. Matter of fact, it is integrated with learning letter knowledge. View page 8 in Reading Foundation. Note the mouth formation demonstration chart. Children need to be taught how to form their mouths and where to place their tongues when sounding letters of the alphabet. This is steeped in phonemic awareness. Without a strong knowledge of letter sounds, the ability to decode and read are greatly hampered. Parents can choose to use the mouth formation chart to teach or reinforce letter sounds in isolation. But note that in addition, emphasis on letter sounds is intertwined throughout all lessons in Reading Foundation. Letter sound is introduced the moment children are introduced to the letter recognition. This makes for sound visual connection. View page 21. While children are asked to trace upper and lowercase a, they are shown pictures representing the two sounds that A makes, long and short vowel sounds. The mouth formation is also shown to remind children of how the mouth should be formed when making those letter sounds. The same is done on page 36, where children are shown mouth formation for the B sound, and encouraged to make the sound while tracing the letter. This builds letter sound memory, which is again reinforced on pages where they are asked to sound the letters while colouring. See pages 25, 27, 40, and 42. Part of understanding the difference between consonants and vowels is that while consonants demonstrate one sound, vowels demonstrate two sounds. For example, vowels such as A, E, I, O, and U all exhibit a long and a short sound. See pages 21, 81, 141, 230, and 319. All consonants except for C and G demonstrate only one sound. C and G demonstrate either a hard or soft sound. See pages 51 and 111. Letter sound knowledge and phonemic awareness are further deepened as children practice identifying letter sounds at the beginning, middle, or ending of words. Reading Foundation has incorporated this throughout. For example, on pages 22, 23, and 24, children are asked to complete several words by tracing and sounding the beginning, middle, and ending letters. This skill is then assessed in the review sections, as exhibited on page 29. Reading Foundation Parent Guide introduces vowel pairs and vowel power. Although these are addressed mainly at the first grade level, if your child has mastered letter and sound recognitions, move them right into understanding the sound made when vowels are paired, and explain how the C and G sound are hard or soft depending on which vowel is next to those letters. Knowledge of sounds related to vowel pairs will strengthen your child's ability to decode unfamiliar words, because in addition to sounding words based on beginning letter sounds, they can now recognize word parts and sound higher level words. Y is sometimes viewed as a vowel, so children need to understand that like the other vowels, Y can exhibit two sounds. A long Y sound as in cry and fly, and a long E sound as in cherry and bunny. This book corresponds to the Reading Foundation Parent Guide. It maintains that similar look and feel of the Parent's Guide. Children are given colour choices for colouring the uppercase and corresponding lowercase letters, and are provided opportunities to select pictures with beginning sounds that represent specific letters. It is very important to note that the mouth formation critical to sounding each letter is included in this book. Children are also able to practice tracing letters, and then independently write upper and lowercase letters based on knowledge of the strokes required for forming each letter. Emphasis is placed on determining whether a C word begins with a hard or soft C, or a G word begins with a hard or soft G. Children will absolutely enjoy practicing the skills that parents are guided to help them develop through use of the Reading Foundation Parent Guide. While Reading Foundation was steeped in phonemic and phonological awareness, as letter knowledge and sounds were addressed, children need to be exposed to viewing the printed letter in books. This brings us to comprehension. It is at this point children are exposed to how letters form words and words are placed in sentences to convey meanings. Comprehension intervention will guide parents on how literacy and comprehension are developed from the pre-K kindergarten level. Meanwhile, it's time to blend those letter sounds. Now it's on to blending and segmenting.